What's good? What's good? What's good? We back for another episode of Think Pieces and Conversations. I think this is episode 48. I have some alarming news for you guys. I was sitting back one day and I was like, who certifies the election? When somebody wins an election, who certifies it? I just had a thought. I was like, I gotta find this answer out. Who certifies the election? And then my brain said, Mike Pence didn't certify the last election. No, he did certify it so that the other person could win, that Joe Biden and Kamala could win. So, if Mike Pence was the person that certifies the election, doesn't that mean Kamala Harris is the one that certifies her own election for this term right here? So I looked it up. I typed it in. Bunch of clicking noises. Click, typed it in. Found this article right here. Kamala Harris will certify the winner of her own election. Have other VPs had to do that? This is from the Miami Herald, October 22nd, 2024. In a few months, Vice President Kamala Harris will find herself in a peculiar position of certifying the results of her own election. Whether she wins or loses, it's a role that just a handful of vice presidents throughout history have undertaken. On January 6, both chambers of Congress will convene to count the electoral votes sent in by each state. Harris, in her capacity as president of the Senate, will open the certified votes as they are tallied and announce the winner. This process is laid out in the 12th Amendment of the Constitution. Her role, though, will only be ceremonial. I don't know what that means. This was clarified in a 2022 law passed after former Donald Trump tried to pressure Vice President Mike Pence to block the certification of President Joe Biden's victory. The law states that the president of the Senate and presiding over the joint meeting of Congress will have solely ministerial duties. Good. That's good. So we are not in between a rock and a hard place. It goes on to say they possess no power or to solemnly determine, accept, reject, or otherwise adjudicate or resolve disputes over the proper list of electors, the validity of electors, or the votes of electors. Past vice presidents who certify their own elections. To date, just a small number of vice presidents have performed this duty. Whether to certify their own victory or defeat, throughout the 248-year history of the U.S., just 4 sitting presidents have won a presidential election, according to CNN. These were John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Martin Van Buren, and George H.W. Bush. Okay, cool. So, because of the last election, they took away the power that the vice president has in order to certify an election or not. So he or she no longer has the sole power to certify an election. That's good. I don't know if this is 100% true or not. I am reading this off a article. So the back door that they would have had to undertake the election seems like it's no longer here. That was something that was there last election. In 2022, they got rid of that. We're going to see what happens on the 5th. Because they took away their own back door. Because I thought they was smart. I was like, yo, listen. They have put us in between a rock and a hard place. You take away, you give the vice president the primary. You give her you make her the person that is the in the run for being president. You put her up there. You take the president out. You put her up there. She has the sole authority for that. So she doesn't have the sole authority for that. So they took away the back door. So that means they got to have another strategy if Trump wins. What is the strategy if Trump wins? What is the strategy? I mean, Alex Jones said basically all of them. I don't know if they're gonna happen though. I don't know if a civil war is gonna happen. I don't know if they're gonna stage terror attacks. I don't know what they're gonna do. But from what all the polls are showing, especially the independent pollers that are on YouTube, that's who you should be watching, the independent pollers. They got Trump winning 312 to 206. Okay? They got Trump winning 312 to 206. Let me pull up this other video that I was supposed to watch the other day. Oh. I found this video. New York City offering free tickets to migrants to flee the city.
Look at the pictures we're showing on TV, right? I mean, the number of people who are coming and headed our way. We're told it's 3 additional caravans. Do you have any idea in terms of where that stands? Are they waiting until after the election?
That's exactly what they're doing. There's hundreds of thousands right now, Maria, in southern Mexico, just waiting for the election. They want to see what's going to happen, obviously, before they actually make their way to the border. And it all goes back to leadership and having strong leadership in the United States that's going to put pressure on Mexico to keep these caravans or keep any potential illegal immigrants from making this journey. But yet we're not seeing that. We haven't seen that in the last 2.5 years. And just to go back to my point earlier, when we talked about hiding the negative optics, well, of course, the federal government has been also allowing illegal immigrants through the use of the CBP-1 app and also these direct flights from some of these countries, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, directly into the United States.
I'm at work, right? I'm at work. I'm having a discussion about politics with a dude in the break room. Cool guy. And I'm breaking down certain shit on, why Trump is the right man to be in office for these next 4 years. And ignorantly enough, this guy was like, yo, man, fuck Trump. And I'm like, and he started breaking down why he say fuck Trump. And I'm like, oh, so you think he gonna put, he was like Jim Crow 2.0. Yo, listen, I'm not sorry to say this, but a lot of my people, which sorry to say they're black, they're stupid. When it comes to politics, all people are ignorant. When it comes to sports, football, basketball, what such and such scored in the 3rd playoff game in 2000, they could tell you everything, bro. When it comes to politics, they claim they don't give a shit about politics. They say they don't vote. They say they don't give a shit about Trump. They say Trump is Jim Crow 2.0. He's gonna bring in Jim Crow 2.0. You know what I said to this guy? I said, so why wasn't Jim Crow 2.0 put in place when he was there in 2016, 2017, whatever? Oh, man, I don't give a fuck about politics. I don't care about politics. I'm not into politics, man. Why are we talking about politics? And then I was like, yo, all right. So I started breaking shit down. And then he did it again. Yo, man, I don't care what facts you got about Trump. I don't fuck with Trump. And then I brought back, I was like, yo, I brought this border crisis thing that's going on right now. And I was like, yo, you know what's going on at the border? Like, these are this type of stuff you gotta watch. Like, there's absolute mayhem going on in the border. Man, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm not into politics, man. Politics is not my thing, bro. Politics is not my thing. And then he kept saying, yo, I don't give a shit about Trump, blah, blah, blah. Don't vote for him. And he was like, and I'm like, yo, so you don't care about politics. You telling me about not voting for Trump. You know nothing about politics. Why the hell should I listen to you about any of this shit? Look at Chicago, New York, Colorado. These places are getting overran. This guy at public safety right now, a state trooper at the border, he's saying, yo, there's folks waiting on the election. So if the election, if you don't care about politics, why don't you care about politics? Hundreds of thousands of these illegal immigrants are at the border waiting to see what happens in politics, in the election. Why y'all worried about LeBron, what he scored, and all this other bullshit? There's things affecting you in your real life today. And definitely tomorrow. Do you know every 4 years, Election Day is like people watch around the world what happens in the United States? Around the entire country. Around the entire globe, everybody is watching to see what happens in the United States. Every continent that has prime ministers, other presidents, this leader, that leader, kings, queens, they all watch November 5th. This is like all roads is pointing to the obvious thing. Most of the shit that y'all care about has no importance. It doesn't matter. Like it's there for entertainment. It's there for a few days, few months, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of fame or whatever season that it's in. And then once it goes away, that's it. Politics, shit that happens in Congress, rules that's being passed, what budgets is being approved, that matters all the time. But yet, you worried about what chain Nicki Minaj got for her boyfriend, or what Beyonce said on stage. Yo, Beyonce doesn't give a shit about politics. You know why she don't give a shit about politics? She has so much money. Whatever happens at whatever continent, whoever becomes president, it doesn't affect her because she can hop on her private jet, get the fuck out of Dodge. Jay-Z can hop on a private jet, get the fuck out of Dodge. Lizzo can hop on a jet, get out of Dodge. All these celebrities, you shouldn't be looking towards them at all for any endorsement because they don't care. It does not affect them. However they maneuver, they'll just move. If a law in such and such state affects their taxes, all they got to do is move to one that doesn't. If an entire country has something that affects them, all they got to do is fly away. They have the means, they got the money, they got the resources. They're always going to be them wherever they go. you are stuck here. But you don't care about voting the right way in an election. Not doing your research. Not doing this. Not differentiating between propaganda and the real thing. And you listen to celebrities for your resources, for your information. Celebrities are stupid. Most of them are simps, stupid. Somebody else is paying them, so they can't say their real opinion. Broke. Most of them are. You should not be looking to. Only thing you need to look towards a celebrity for is entertainment, and that's it. Anything else that affects your life, you should ignore them. Ignore them. This is a fact. You see guys like on the DL Hughley. You see people like Little Scrappy. Little Scrappy's from Love and Hip Hop. One of the worst television shows you can watch as a black person for entertainment. African American, whatever skin color, that is a bad representation of what we actually are. That is the worst reputation. That is the lowest fruit. That is the lowest hanging fruit is Love and Hip Hop. The lowest hanging fruit is Baddies. The lowest hanging fruit is everything on the Zeus network. Why are y'all watching that? And not watching this. You're not watching this. Let me get back to the video and get off this rant. Y'all pissing me off.
And those numbers are not accounted for the daily, daily encounters that we're seeing right now. So we still have a situation on our hands right now. On daily average, we're seeing 2,000 illegal border crossings a day. Now, that's not as big as what we normally would see, between 6,000 to 8,000. But nonetheless, if you go back to the Obama administration, when you look at DHS Secretary Jay Johnson, he even said 1,000 would be catastrophic, would be a problem on the border. Right now, we're still dealing with 2,000, not taking into account the gotaways as well and all the criminal activity that comes with it.
Yeah. And of course, part of the reason that the numbers are down is Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, has done an incredible job with his Operation Lone Star, which you, of course, have been among the leaders of. I want to get your take on what's happening now with New York City sending 4,500 migrants back to Texas, offering free one-way plane and bus tickets to other states like Illinois, Florida, or Colorado. New York spent nearly $14 million on the reticketing program as of July. So Abbott sends migrants to New York, then New York spends all this money.
Let me read this again. New York offers migrants free tickets to leave city. They want to spend $13.8 million to reticket through now till July. They want to send 4,500 is already sent to Texas. Okay.
So Abbott sends migrants to New York, then New York spends all this money, millions, to send them back to Texas.
So they doing a back and forth thing. New York is sending them to Texas, and then Texas is sending them back to New York. So it's all wasted money. Wasted money. Because we have an issue. Each city is having an issue with a migrant crisis. And y'all want to tell me about abortion rights. What rights do you have as a woman that you don't have right now in 2016 to 2020 that you don't have right now? Oh, you want the federal government to have control of your rights as to abort your baby because you're using abortion as contraception instead of using abortion as a last resort to maybe health reasons, a bunch of things you could have, like, why are you using that as contraception? It doesn't make sense. You got birth control. You got Plan B. You got condoms. You got the female condom. There's all types of ways to prevent a pregnancy. And then a lot of y'all that I've ran into in real life, because I'm a man and I deal with women, a lot of y'all had minimum 1 through 5 abortions in your lifetime. Not one of them that I ran into was because of a grape. Not one of them that I ran into was because of some type of medical condition. Not one of them that I ran into was because of anything other than, yo, I don't want this right now. This is contraception. I'm just running into the clinic and getting it done. Not a one. They spending billions trying to work this migrant crisis in New York, Texas, Arizona. The auto industry in America is damn near gone. It's on indefinite decline because we sent all our jobs outside of the U.S. And you telling me about abortion rights? Yo, am I living in the Twilight Zone, bro? No. This is reality. This is real life. This is what we're dealing with right now. The ignorance is not bliss. When there's too many ignorant people, it causes chaos because the wrong things are getting passed. The wrong things are being paid attention to. The wrong people's getting put in office. The wrong problems is getting solved. The wrong solutions is getting used for the problem. And you telling me about abortion rights, which they repackaged it and called it reproductive rights. But reproductive rights encapsulates a whole web of things you could do with your body. So if you want to talk about reproductive rights, why y'all got puberty blockers for kids? Why parents can't tell their kid that's 8, 9 years old in California, yo, you don't know that you're a girl because you're a boy. They tell them that. The city takes custody of the kid because they want to put forth this agenda. The kid goes, gets whatever he does gets done, takes puberty blockers, takes this. He doesn't have control. The kid doesn't have control. The parent doesn't have control of the situation no more. This is their kid. They birthed this child. This child does not know better. Oh, they don't have control of that. There's a lot of things going on in this world that you're not paying attention to. But when the game comes on, you running, you speeding back home from work to watch the game, to catch the game. And there's millions of people living next door to you, especially if you live in New York, Chicago, Texas, that are not from here, that don't care about America. Some of them are terrorists. Some of them are murderers. Some of them are human traffickers. They came in by the tens of thousands. And you telling me about abortion rights?
The Big Apple has spent more than $6 billion total on this migrant crisis, Lieutenant. What are your thoughts? Have you felt the impact of those migrants from New York City being sent back to Texas?
We have not, Maria, and I don't believe we've seen that as of yet, but I know the governor has a plan in place to take care of that issue. And it goes back to politics again. Now New York has seen that they can't handle the situation because not only just the amount of people, but also economically as well. So I can tell you for a fact that in Texas, the governor's made it very clear, Governor Abbott's made it very clear that, we're not going to allow illegal immigrants into the state of Texas, especially if they're not allowed to be here. We're going to continue busing them to these sanctuary cities because, again, these are sanctuary cities. They did welcome these illegal immigrants from day one, so they should accept them and provide them all the resources they need.
Right. Suddenly, it's not a sanctuary city all of a sudden as they want to send the people back to Texas. Joe Borelli, jump in here.
Yeah, Lieutenant, we're 6 days away from an election, and by some accounts, Donald Trump is poised to win. Is Texas Department of Public Safety, are you guys concerned that the Biden-Harris administration will actually open the floodgates for the last 2 months of their presidential term? Is that something you guys are preparing for?
That's a great question. Of course, and that's why, as Maria mentioned, when we look at the number of illegal border crossings down in the state of Texas, it's not because of the federal government, what they've done. It's because of what we've done in Texas. Our state troopers, our National Guard soldiers, we have gotten border crossings down 88% in the state of Texas. So we remain proactive. Our posture has not changed on the border. We still have thousands of National Guard soldiers, state troopers. So we remain proactive, and we're ready for anything that may come our way, especially a potential surge after November 5th. So we're monitoring that closely with our
I didn't even think about this. They are preparing for the possibility that the Biden-Harris administration is just going to let off a farewell insurgent of migrants. They just going to be like, yo, open the borders up all the way after November 5th. We lost, cool. Open them up all the way. Let's bring in 20 million in 2 months. I wouldn't put it past them. This is their last stand for this idiocratic system that they have put in place since 2020, since whoever's controlling that Democratic Party now, they have inserted their claws so deep into the system because of the pandemic. Because we lost control, because of the censorship that was happening during the pandemic. There was the type of power that they administered, they never tasted before. It was like, wow, we really let all y'all really stayed in the house because we said so. Oh, and they just kept going. Oh, let's keep stretching the boundaries. Y'all should have never let Wuhan happened. Because Wuhan happened, people woke up. Within 2 to 3 years of your presidency, people woke up. Y'all should have never let that happen. Y'all thought we was stupid and got a rude awakening. Whether y'all win this election or not, Miss Harris, whether the Democrats win this election or not, there is an unsettling amount of people that are awake and see exactly what's going on. So, it's either this is going to be the last hurrah for you, or the next one is. But I think this is your last hurrah. I think Trump is taking the office. But Trump has to realize this right here, this strategy to completely topple the United States of America by opening up the borders all the way for the last 2 months is not out of question.
Partners, as well as gathering intelligence, We've dealt with a situation before. If you look back in 2021 with the Haitians, 17,000 plus, we were able to deploy over 600 state troopers in a moment's notice to secure that area, and we'll do the same right now moving forward. So again, our posture has not changed. We remain proactive, and we'll continue reinforcing any areas along the border that we see as vulnerabilities.
Well, of course, and one of the most serious and scary parts of all of this is the national security element. And authorities are warning that those caravans that we just talked about are being extorted by the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. The Texas Department of Homeland Security is using taxpayer money to put up these billboards. One of the billboards says this: "Your brother in immigration custody has rights. We're here to help." Immigrations and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol sources told Fox News they're furious about these billboards, calling the ads insulting and saying that they feel like they work against them. Many say that their agency are already working with limited funding and resources. What about the element of this Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua? Have you had any impact or engagement with any of the members?
Well, real quick, Maria, on those billboards, of course, this just further demoralizes, federal agents, Border Patrol agents, ICE agents for doing their job. We're going out there wanting to track down these criminals and arrest them and hold them accountable. And when you see a billboard like this from our own federal government, it really undermines the rule of law, and what we should be doing as a country is actually holding people accountable for violating the law. As far as Tren de Aragua, in Texas, Governor Abbott, he's the only one that I know of right now in the state or in the country, as far as a governor or in the state of Texas, actually holding Tren de Aragua, TDA, accountable for their actions, actually designate them as a foreign terrorist organization. No other state or other governor has done that, and providing a cash reward up to $5,000 for anyone that can give us information that will lead or to the arrest of known or suspected TDA members. So we're taking a proactive step in Texas. You're well aware of that. And of course, we want to track down this gang because they're starting to infiltrate not only Texas, but also the entire country. And they do have affiliation with the Mexican drug cartels as well, because they are involved in human smuggling, trafficking, extortion, prostitution, and also even murder.
Unbelievable.
All right, go down in the comments and let me know what y'all think is going to happen in the election. Who y'all voting for and why? If y'all say Kamala Harris, do not tell me because she's black and she's a woman. I will block you. Have something of value that she brings to the table. I'm not playing either. Like, the other people will accept that bullshit. I don't care about that. There's more people that has looked like me in my lifetime that has robbed, stole, hated, done wrong shit. So I don't care about, she's black. All I care about is character. That's the only thing I care about is your character. I don't care what color you are. I don't care. I don't care what culture you came from. I'm out of here.